Now, in the past 2 years, despite the recession, the big four supermarkets have had 46 new planning applications for stores approved by councils in this region.
That's according to new research by the BBC. Our environment correspondent, David Gregory, has been taking a look at what all this development means for our towns and cities as Tesco, Sainsbury's, Morrisons and Asda race for space.
Christmas shopping in Oswestry, a town well supplied with supermarkets, but another is proposed for the site of this old cattle market, and it's one that will make the town a record breaker. If this site is developed for a supermarket, it'll mean Oswestry will become the town in Britain with the largest square footage of supermarket space per head of population. Campaigners are worried about the impact of a new supermarket right on the edge of things.
They become the gatekeeper to Oswestry, so everyone will pass their threshold and they will catch, one would think, a large majority of the people who pass through. And that, I think, is the danger that this particular site proposes to the town.
5,000 people oppose the new development in Oswestry, but it's not always the case. In Leek, there were objections, but also much support for a new Sainsbury's.
Yeah, that's fine. In my case, I think more competition, better for the consumers and everything.
Well, I think it would be very good, actually.
After a 3-hour planning meeting, Staffordshire Moorlands District Council approved the plans to the delight of some.
I accept that people would have different views on how the proposed food store would impact on Leek. We believe it's going to bring loads of jobs to Leek Town Centre. It's going to enable a number of businesses which have been in Leek for many years, the dyeing works, the printers, to continue their legacy going forward, and it's going to provide them with brand new facilities as well.
Development often means extra cash for local communities. In Stourport, £700,000 from Tesco for improving roads. In Southam, it's £1 million of road investment by Tesco. And in Tenbury Wells, Tesco again will provide road improvements and even a rural bus service. Meanwhile, away from large out-of-town stores, in Birmingham, there's been an explosion in supermarket numbers. According to figures from the Ordnance Survey, in the past 6 years, it's Birmingham that's seen the highest growth in supermarket numbers. And looking around, that's not hard to believe. And competition is fierce. Opposite the new Sainsbury's, what used to be a Summerfield.
The strong will always survive and the weak will be less successful. So there's still growth there, but I think the very fact that there has been saturation on the edge of town and the out-of-town shopping experience and what those stores can offer has really allowed them to move back into the inner centre, into the cities, into the town centre.
Even in the depths of recession, Britain's supermarkets continue to power forward.
Well, David joins us now from outside one supermarket in Birmingham. David, what have the supermarkets had to say about the BBC's findings?
Well, Suzanne, only Sainsbury's really directly addressed the points about the West Midlands in my report, and they say in a statement they have 5,000 people working for them in the West Midlands, not including the people who work in their depots, and they always work with the planning communities, and they look to give an economic boost to communities they invest in. Tesco's slightly more hostile, to be honest, in their statement. They say the BBC figures are incomplete and misleading, and that we haven't taken into account that some Tesco stores do close, of course. And they also say that they always put their customers first and point out that shareholders do very well out of Tesco's, including, they say, the BBC Pension Fund. And finally, from Morrisons, they say they're actively looking for more sites. So the point here, I think, is that all the supermarkets, for them, in these difficult times, it's expansion that's one of the key ways they're going to be driving profits.
So, David, is there any limit to supermarket numbers?
I think that's a very good question. There are some really smart teams in supermarkets who are designed to see whether you can squeeze in more smaller stores like this or find areas like Hereford, for example, that haven't had recent supermarket planning applications. And these teams are working very hard to make sure they can squeeze profit for the supermarkets. But I have to say, one protester told me if only these smart people working for British industry, maybe in a place like the West Midlands, that would be better for them.
OK, David, thanks very much. And this will be investigated in a panorama special on BBC1 called Supermarkets, What Price Cheap Food? That starts at 9 p.m. tonight.